I'm going to show you how you can grow endless basil from just a single pot that you buy from the store. Let's get into it. Okay, so there's a few steps to this, but it's dead fun and it's dead easy as well, which is good. So this is a basil plant that I picked up at my local supermarket. And first things first, we need to sort this bad boy out, because as you can see, when you look at the plant, there's lots of stems coming out of the soil. There must be a good maybe 10, 15, something like that, all in this small little pot. And each stem is an individual basil plant, and they're all fighting for the same water and nutrients in this small pot, which means that basically this basil is going to eventually die. That's why your basil at home normally dies when you bring it home from the store. As an example, I can show you this guy. This is one that I've not touched, and I bought it about 3 weeks ago. It's looking at death's door, isn't it? There's lots of dead growth in here in the middle. It's just always, the same thing always happens with the basil if you don't sort it out. Because like I say, there's just too many plants in here fighting for the same nutrients. We'll pop that up there. So it's a dead simple process to start with. We're basically going to get this out of the pot. And you can see all the roots in this little pot here. So all we need to do, we need to tease these basil plants apart. So what I like to do, tear it in half like so, and then just keep tearing it into smaller clumps until you get to individual plants. So there's another one. So there's 1, 2, 3, there's 6 just in that little bit of soil there, which is far too much. So we can split this again. You don't need to worry about damaging the roots too much. They're quite robust basil plants. As long as you can separate them by getting some roots still attached to the stem, then we're in business. So there's a nice healthy basil plant. And basically all we need to do is just pot this on into individual pots. Their own pot that they get to call home. So I'm just using Universal Mix by Cy Botanica. I'm just filling it around. And there you have it. That will now happily live on a windowsill in your house, the brightest spot that you can give it, because they do like a lot of sun, basil plants, and that will stop them being so leggy. I do have some that I made earlier. So I made these just a few days ago. So I've now got 6, I believe. 6 plants like this, but that isn't where the story ends. There's much more to it, because we can now prune these so that we get endless supply of basil, and this is how we do it. So we can take this plant as an example. So it's a single stem, and there's a set of leaves down here, and there's a set of leaves at the top. And there's also the little baby leaves that you can just see at the bottom here that I think I've buried in the soil. And that is important to know, because we want to prune above the first set of true leaves, which are these big leaves here. If we prune to the baby leaves there, then we're not going to get, basically it's going to kill the plant, I think. So we can prune just above there, like so, to get our cutting basically. So we need to keep this. And this guy we don't throw away. What's going to happen with this guy, you see these 2 sets of leaves that's just growing where I made the cut. They're going to grow, they're going to turn into the new stems of the plant. So we're going to get 2 brand new stems growing from where I made the cut. So I've essentially turned 1 stem into 2. So that's already multiplied our potential basil harvest during the summer. So that will happily continue growing. So I'm going to pop that there. And in this guy, it's got a set of 4 leaves here. So it's quite a small cutting we got here. Normally these plants, the distance between the 2 sets of leaves is normally a bit bigger, but that was quite a young basil plant that I've got. The stems are quite small. Normally they're much taller with maybe 3 or 4 sets of leaves. But anyway, when it's a small cutting like this, we just need to remove those 2 bigger leaves. That's just going to ease the pressure on the cutting for it to develop into a plant. If we left so many leaves on, then it's going to dry out. So that's the perfect cutting right there. So we can go through and cut all of these. Might seem a bit drastic, but pruning your basil plant in this way is the best thing for it. Especially when you come to harvest. If you harvest your basil and just tear at the leaves, then you're not really going to get the best out of the basil plant. You want to instead cut the stem above a set of leaves. That way you give the plant the chance to grow new stems, and then you'll just continue to get more and more basil. So we can pop those over here. Like I say, we keep these, put them in a nice bright spot, and they will continue growing happily. So all of these cuttings I've got, I'm just going to remove the larger leaves. So you only need a couple of leaves like that. Don't throw these out. You can pop these into your pasta sauce like I do, because it is a beautiful plant, isn't it, in our cooking, basil. We use it all summer long. Okay, so we've got our little cuttings. They are a bit small. I do normally like them a bit bigger than this, but they will grow on. And then all you need is a glass of water, and then just pop your basil cuttings on top without them drowning, hopefully. Maybe this glass is a bit small, a bit too big rather. So I like to sit them on the edge like so, just so that the stems are sitting in the water. It's a bit of a bigger glass than I'll normally have. I'm going to get a different glass. Okay, got a smaller glass with a smaller neck, so hopefully these will sit in without falling in now. Okay, so they are poised on top. They're a little bit smaller than I normally do. So what's going to happen is the stems are going to grow roots, and we're going to basically grow our individual plants. So you want to pop that in a bright spot, keep it out of direct sunlight, and that will grow roots. And as if by magic, these are some that I grew a few weeks ago, or maybe 3 weeks ago. So this was on an older plant, so the stems were much longer, which is why you can see on here that we've got nice longer stems on here that I was able to cut. But look at all those roots. Got lots of roots on here. So we've successfully grown brand new basil plants. So that one's got lovely roots. So these all should be rooted, I think. So it takes about 2 or 3 weeks. It's quite quick to root. And once they start, they grow very handsomely. That's got roots. Nice and healthy roots, nice and white. It's exactly what you want to see. Okay, so they are all rooted. And now we just need to pot them on. So I've got my little clear plastic pots here. So again, I'm just going to hold the plant in the middle, more or less. Dump a load of soil in. And this isn't where the story ends. I'll show you in a sec what we're going to do with this plant now, so that we get a continual, endless cycle of basil that you never run out, basically. Because you might think, why don't you just stop at separating the basil plant into individual parts? Why not just stop there? Why bother with the rooting of the plants? Well, I'll reveal all in a sec. So I've potted them all into pots with soil. So we do need to now give them a drink. So I've got my tray here. So when you repot any plant, you do want to give it a good drink always, but especially with basil, because they are quite thirsty plants. Don't like to dry out too much. And then with these guys, you can leave them to grow on a bit more, and then we're basically at the stage we were with these plants where we separated them. So we've now got 3 brand new plants here, and then we can let them grow on a bit longer. So we've got longer stems, maybe 2 more sets of leaves, what we got here, and we just go in and cut just above a set of leaves there. Remove these leaves. Obviously it'll be a bit longer if you let it grow out a bit, but then pop that into water, it'll grow roots and you've got another plant. So we've got 2 new stems growing from here. We've got a fresh plant there, we're going to root next, and then we've got the original one. So we've got another 2 stems. So we've got 5 plants out of 1, essentially. So if you keep doing that all year long, you just have an endless supply of basil that you just keep going and going, and you'll be cooking pasta sauces all summer long. I'll go into loads more detail about why leaving your store-bought basil plant like this is such a problem in the video here. So make sure you watch it next, and I'll see you there.